Today's guest is Barry LaValle, president of the Retirement Lifestyle Center and author of So You Think You Are Ready to Retire? Welcome, Barry.
Sybil, it's really good to be here.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about your background before we dive into the retirement stuff.
Well, you know, I started my university with a degree in psychology, never did anything with it, got into the financial services industry, worked as an advisor, mutual funds executive, and I started to look at what I was doing and what other advisors were doing, and I thought, we don't really even understand retirement, and here we are, we're trying to give all this advice to everybody else. So I went back to my roots, back to understanding how people handle transitions as they go through their life and how they think and act and make decisions. And I focused almost exclusively on retirement since about 1997.
Wow, I think when it comes to the finance industry, psychology is probably one of the most helpful degrees somebody can have.
Yeah, but everybody overlooks it. I don't know why they think that this is just about money, and they don't even try and get inside the heads of the people they're trying to help.
No, and people focus so much on the money that they forget the money is just the means to an end.
Well, and that's really the focus that I've got now, is trying to help people get context, because they think it's all about money, or in retirement they think it's a workplace issue, but it's not. It's an emotional issue as people move from one stage of their life to another, and I don't think a lot of people are prepared for that.
Well, life is kind of one big emotional roller coaster, and you throw in the stock markets, another roller coaster, and people don't know where to turn.
That's right, and I think what they're looking for now is the kind of advisor that really can help them understand the context, understand the relationship that money plays in their life.
Try and take some of the emotions out of it, but not ignoring it.
No, but that's why behavioral finance has become such a big thing. Advisors understanding what's really going on as people look at their money. There's a new science, relatively new, called financial gerontology, which is the study of money as it relates to how we act as we get older, which I think is a real burgeoning field and something that I'm very much interested in.
Well, I can think about that. I think as people get older, inflation does its thing, but how many times have you heard, I can't believe a loaf of bread costs?
Oh, I know.
I remember when it used to be 10 cents. Does that play a part too? People get stuck in the past?
It very much does, and they get stuck in wrong ideas about what this next phase of life is. I think retirement's often painted as the 30-year long weekend, where it's a perpetual holiday. Well, let me ask you a question, true or false? Retirement could be the longest single phase of your life.
Yes.
Well, most people would say, right? Sure.
It could be.
Except, and I'm 64 years old, by the time I get to be 85, if I make it that far, I'm going to go through anywhere from 6 to 8 very distinct transitions, driven by my health or the health of my spouse. It's not one long life phase at all. It's really the beginning of what would be this last phase of my life, and whatever that entails.
So what is the big question you think Canadians have today?
The one I get most often is, what do I need to understand when I'm trying to make a retirement plan?
Well, Barry, that's a great question. So don't go away. I have a feeling the answer to this question will surprise you.
The Wealthy Life is brought to you by investment dealer Raymond James. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Welcome back. We're here with Barry LaValle, author of So You Think You Are Ready to Retire, to learn what people really need to know before they retire.
Well, Sybil, so many people go into this without the understanding of what this life is and what you're actually planning for. And unfortunately, a lot of their advisors are the same way. So it really becomes the blind leading the blind. The thing that people need to understand is that this is about life. It's about life at the beginning of your retirement. It's about life as it goes through the various transitions that you're going to make.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just think the discussion has to be different. Yeah, there's a concept for you. There's a concept, and that's what I say in my workshops. I said, you know, forget the idea that this is retirement. It's just life. Yeah. You may not be working, and in some cases you're going to, but it's just life.
So what inspired you to write a book?
There was too much misunderstanding, and so I thought, all right, Most advisors would have a difficult time bringing up a lot of the subjects that I might be able to bring up. And so I wrote the book for their clients. Advisors could give their clients the book that would talk about all these issues, which on the surface don't seem to relate directly to finance, but everything relates to the financial plan that ultimately has to be made. And so what I'm trying to do is save everybody a lot of time and just go through the basic things you need to know on the non-financial side of retirement.
Well, you know, it's great to hear, because in my experience working with clients over the years, they don't want to know the nitpicky financial stuff. They want to work with someone who's going to take care of that for them. They want to understand it. But the most important question that I think every single client has is, will I be okay?
Yeah, and then that's generally the first question. But even that's a tough one. I think that you have to plan long-term. You have to plan short-term. Long-term because you may be alive a lot longer than you think.
Yes.
In fact, if you take a look at some of the research done in both Canada and the United States, most people underestimate the amount of time they need to plan for.
Yes, they do.
They do, and yet, you know, so they get into this plan and they think, well, okay, 85, that sounds like a nice, ripe old age. But if you're in good health at age 65 and you're female, you can expect to live to be well into your 90s. If you're male, you can live to be somewhere between 85 and 90. So we need to plan long term. But planning long term doesn't mean that you're going to spend the same way all the way through, and there are some issues that you should consider.
So now that'll take us to, what should people consider before they retire? And should they even retire?
Well, somebody had said, you know, we're all going to retire, and I'm saying maybe not. I think that the concept of retirement, as you and I know it today, probably won't exist in 25 years. And I say that because we may still take sabbaticals, we may still take time off, but this isn't back when we were an industrialized or an agrarian society where we worked really hard until we couldn't work anymore and then we needed our rest.
Yes.
You know, we get paid for what we know, and I think that businesses around the world look at the brain drain of all these people over age 60 that are deciding now they're going to take their knowledge and go sit on a beach, and they're saying, maybe not.
Well, how about all these great things people say, I'm going to do that when I retire? Does that really happen?
No, and that's one of the big fallacies, is that, you know, I've got all this time, Sybil. I've got time to learn to golf now, and I've got time to travel that I've never been able to do before. But the fact is, you are who you are. If you didn't travel extensively before you retired, you will be less likely to travel when you're retired. Or the other one, I've got time to learn to paint. Well, here's the problem. If you're the kind of person that didn't do new things when you were younger, you didn't like to do new things.
Yes.
You think, oh, I got all this time now. Well, you've got time, but Sybil, you've also got you. And you are not, and not you as in Sybil Verch, but you as in the person who says, I got this time, probably doesn't really have the initiative to actually go out and start new things.
Wow. So what you're saying is people are going to do more of the same when they retire, and they may not be open to trying new things.
Well, now here's the challenge and the opportunity. The challenge is to overcome what naturally happens to us as we get older. In psychology, it's called continuity theory. And all that means is, as we get older, we circle the wagons. We become less likely to do new things. We become more conservative. Our prejudices, our biases become more entrenched. It's our way of handling the aging process. But there's a certain kind of individual that breaks through that, and these are the individuals that really get a great enjoyment out of retirement, and they're the self-directed people.
Well, I think there's so much more that we could cover, but to help people out, one of the first steps I recommend clients do is fill out a workbook to answer all these questions to see if you're ready for retirement, and maybe pick up a copy of your book while you're at it. Barry, thanks for being on the show today.
It's my pleasure.
So stay tuned. Up next, we learn about the bucket system and how it's linked to success with wealth.